video we will learn about balancing acceptance and the need for change. We change when we're not happy with where we are. We want to change since we don't accept our current state. We strive endlessly hoping to reach a better life, never really reaching the better life. Our strive for self-improvement might just be because we aren't in self-acceptance or even in self-compassion. Acceptance and bringing down our ego should bring us to less sorrow. However, staying where we are is also a form of sorrow. We find that societies that practice radical acceptance without trying to change are the saddest in the world. For example, India is one place before the very last in happiness. This is because accepting and agreeing and surrendering to where you are eventually brought even more poverty and suffering to the society in India. Stopping our thoughts and concentrating only on the here and now makes us more animal-like. Expansion and thinking is part of what we are. We're human. We already know both change and acceptance are needed for recovery. But they seem to contradict, do they not? So how can you work with acceptance whilst having the need for change? Can you hold both acceptance and change together? If you can, which of them is first, change or acceptance? What's the right balance? By the end of this video, you will know the answers. Before we continue, this is not just another video on self-improvement. I wanted you to really know and remember how to deal with this dilemma. We remember through association, through symbols and pictures, and through being repetitive. I made sure these factors will be in this video. We both want the information to sink in and really improve your life. With all that said, let's go right to the point. Your change must come with accepting yourself as valid and as whole. A change that comes with self-compassion and self-acceptance. Let's say you encounter fear on your way to change. Understanding how you feel and validating it is normal. It's a normal feeling that you're experiencing is important. You feel that fear, and that's okay. As the saying goes, feel the fear and do it anyway. All this world's heroes, when asked to talk about their fears, never denied their fear. They experienced fears and accepted the fear. They understood it was part of stretching, changing, and growing. They had a compassion for themselves. When you're working enthusiastically on change, you might feel the butterflies in your stomach. You can call it fear. I'd rather you call it excitement. But these butterflies are part of working on your purpose enthusiastically. And by the way, the word enthusiasm comes from the Greek enthos. God is inside. I couldn't define it better. It's the wholeness of working on a change as a life purpose. It is saying okay to how you feel when you're on your way. Okay to being on your way. Okay to have fears when in change. Okay to have ups and downs as part of your life. In life, you'll always be on your way. Accept the fact that you're on your way, and that's just fine. A person that is really on his way does not feel bad about being on the way. Advancing gives a good feeling. Only the thought of something should be different is the cause for stress. Nothing should be different from you being and working on your way. Change and advance are part of a whole situation. You are whole when you are striving to change. Understand, having a purpose and striving to reach it is what makes our life. Having a purpose and striving to reach it is even what held prisoners alive in a deadly Nazi termination camp. Read Man's Search for Meaning on that. An old traditional Jewish saying is, the whole world is a narrow bridge and the main idea is not to be afraid. If you want to pass a narrow bridge, you have to advance all the time. Stopping from fear is where things start going wrong. So life is always changing whilst advancing towards a purpose. And it will always continue to be a narrow bridge that requires advancing so as not to fall. Life is the journey, not the destination. You have to enjoy the journey. Small advances in the way motivate us to continue and to advance on that narrow bridge. A wise man knows the situation. He knows his feelings and his beliefs, and he believes it's up to him. He's focused outwards and looking at the world outside towards the destination. That's how he keeps the balance. The fool might know the situation, he might even be aware of his feeling, but he's stuck on focusing on himself. That makes him judge and criticize himself and the wrongs in his life and what life has done to him. When you only focus on yourself whilst passing a narrow bridge, you will fall. So yes, it is important to understand how you feel, to understand your mistakes. You will learn from these mistakes and focus outside and continue to advance. So we're talking about acceptance of the advancement way. This is very different from just accepting and surrendering to what the world is and what you're now. Staying in the present, canceling the self while suppressing thoughts. Only accepting without doing is just the wrong path. You cannot only accept. I think that's the wrong part of mindfulness. It's not only acceptance. That is what brought about so much suffering in India itself. So yes, there's the right part of mindfulness, like taking a while to relax, to be in the now, to take a deep breath, to calm your mind, to stop ruminating, accept what is. However, we should then continue to advance. Advancing towards your purpose is what makes you happiest. So we're not just accepting to stay in our current position. We're accepting improvement that might cause some, let's call it, effort suffering, because no way is an easy way. However, we choose the enjoyment of advancing and accepting we are on our way. This acceptance will reduce our suffering and increase our happiness. If we just accept our current position and go no way, that will bring much more suffering to us. Of course, what can't be changed should be accepted. However, accepting a sorrowful situation when it can be changed is wrong. You should not accept any situation when you are hurt from others physically or mentally. Acceptance is not the way in these cases. Being sensitive and not accepting is the right way when you're hurt by others. If this was your path, then you should already accept it. It already happened, and be happy you survived it, you made it, and you will not be in acceptance in situations like that in future. You only accept the fact that a fact happened. You just accept that. You just accept it happened. It does not mean you're agreeing with what happened. If you're abused, you should assert yourself and disagree to further abuse. This applies to any situation you wish to change. You accept it happened, but disagree to it happening again. So regarding the past, you have to switch from, oh, this happened, to, this happened. The past does not create the future. You can only make the needed change in the present. Our minds comprehend better when we use association and symbolism. That's why we're going to use them. We're going to look at two age-old philosophies. The first philosophy is of acceptance, cancelling of the self, a round world, no end, no beginning, no meaning, passiveness, absorption, intuitiveness, being in the here and now, feeling, heavenly, spirituality, female. Its symbols are round, like a round circle, or a triangle that is on its base. So just to get it straight, we all hold male and female traits to some extent. Philosophy 2 is the exact opposite. It's advancing, getting more, going up the ladder, analyzing, doing, being earthly, male. Its symbols are advancement, like a line going upwards, or an upside down triangle symbolizing power, like Superman. Now, our ancestors' traditions, no matter who you are and when you come from, point to the middle way of joining and combining the two philosophies, not adapting only one. Excluding the Indian philosophy that is an extreme point, it's only on the way of accepting and not changing. All other philosophies join change and acceptance together. The first monotheistic religion is Judaism. Its very symbol is joining a feminine acceptance triangle with an advancing, striving Superman triangle. The Bible in its original Hebrew language says, "And God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, for on that day he took rest from all his work that he created to be doing." Now the grammar sounds wrong, so that's the original text, and some translations corrected it. Instead of to be doing, that he has done. That's how they corrected it. But that is not what the Bible says. The original Bible actually says, rest from all his work that he created to be doing. And that's not a mistake. The creation was created to be doing. On the other hand, the Bible also points to the acceptance philosophy, like King Solomon saying, and he says the following: that which has been is that which will be, and that which has been done is which will be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. So that is kind of a more acceptance, circular philosophy. So the Bible is a combination of both philosophies, and the combination is the right way to adopt. If we take Christianity, the symbol of the cross is a combination of the horizontal universe acceptance and a vertical line that symbolizes advancing up. The symbol of Islam is the ever-changing moon that is also round and repetitive. So we have a round circle combined with that ever-changing moon. There is the way of the desert, surrendering to the now and to the universe and to God. By the way, Islam is surrender. And there is the way of the sword, advancing, conquering, doing. If we take the Far Eastern traditions, it's the yin and the yang combined in one circle. It's a combination of both philosophies together. It's mindfulness meditation combined with the way of the warrior. The extremes do exist. We have this Indian Buddhist way, as we said, of being in one place in agreement and acceptance. We can find the other extreme in our current business success and striving world. That's why we sometimes find comfort from our world by turning to mindfulness. Like a magnet, one side of the pole is attracted to the other. But as we've seen, most of humanity's traditions point to the middle way of combining acceptance and change. This means embracing change and accepting change is part of our day-to-day life. The age-old spiral symbol is a combination of advancing combined with a circle that symbolizes acceptance. Throughout generations, humans celebrate holidays and birthdays. Each year we return to these dates. It's circular. Circular represents an ongoing what is. You cannot resist the winter, the summer, the holiday, or the fact that it's your birthday. It's what it is, and resisting it is simple foolishness. However, if we look at a spiral, we'll see that the circle is getting bigger, or the circle is getting higher, or sometimes both, higher and bigger each time. So each year, although you're returning to the same point, you are in a higher or bigger circle. You advance. So the spiral is advancement combined with reoccurring acceptance. By the way, science now has more and more findings that much of our world is built on the spiral model. The universe itself is spiral, for example. If something needs to be done, the reality is that it needs to be done, and we accept that reality. Striving for a better future is part of the present we must accept. Doing and getting better are only in the present. What more, acceptance is a vital part of our growing up. We can see little kids saying, "Oh, it's not fair," but grown-ups already know that it's not rational thinking. The basis of REBT, Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy, consists of identifying your 3 irrational thoughts that are the basis of your suffering. The first irrational thought is, "I must be perfect. In all times, in all situations, otherwise it's terrible, I'm a failure, it always happens to me, I'm not worthy, I can't stand myself." The second irrational thought is, "You must be perfect. In all situations, otherwise it's terrible, you're awful and you always do that, you should be punished, I can't stand your behavior, it's just ruining me." The third irrational sentence is, "My life should be perfect." Of course, we add to that, "In all situations, otherwise it's terrible, my life is awful, bad things always happen to me. I'm not worthy, I can't stand it, my life is impossible and I cannot enjoy my life." Every time I hear someone saying something along these lines, I tell them, I thought you were a grown-up. What do you think? You or your life or others should always be perfect? That's not reality, my friend. Grow up. Nobody and nothing is always perfect. And that's life, and that's okay. Change is life, and the world changes all the time. Thinking things should be otherwise just causes unnecessary and unuseful frustration. If you don't like it and you can change things, that's just great. Do the change. If you can't change or get out of a situation, there's no point in complaining about it. Do whatever is necessary to get on with it and continue forward. Stop comparing reality to what should be. Reality is just the reality. If anything needs to be done, the doing can only start from the reality standpoint. Accept yourself, since that's the reality. Accept working on improving yourself, since that too is part of your life and your reality. Yes, improving is a wonderful part of our life. Ancient Greeks and Jews and other cultures believe that man has full knowledge before birth. And then when he's born, he forgets all that knowledge. These cultures also believe that man should pursue his purpose in life through his exclusive attribute, that is knowledge. Makes you think, what on earth was behind the belief we knew it all before we were born? Why would these ancients find it necessary to believe we knew it all and just forgot it? What this ancient theory is saying is that every time you improve, you're peeling off a part that is not you, and you're uncovering the real you. That is the basis of this ancient theory. Now you're probably thinking about the serenity prayer. God, give me grace to accept with serenity the things that cannot be changed, courage to change things which should be changed, and the wisdom to distinguish the one from the other. It's a great quote. But wait, how does that work out with reality? Things happen. Shouldn't you first try to change and then accept what couldn't be changed? Why is this serenity prayer starting with acceptance? Shouldn't it start from trying to make the change? The answer is no. You always first accept, then you change what you can. The initial acceptance brings about a peaceful mindset when conducting change. You accept what is, you accept the need to change, and only then you perform the change. It's making the change through acceptance. This is wonderfully illustrated in the biblical story of Joseph and his brothers. Joseph became a viceroy, head of Egypt. He ordered the imprisonment of Benjamin, one of the Israelite brothers. Now one of the brothers, Judah, stands up against this order and speaks up. Judah breaks up Joseph and makes him reveal himself to the brothers. This standing up of Judah against a ruler is the utmost strive to change. However, an old Jewish tradition says Judah first practiced acceptance and thanked the Lord. Only then did he pursue in courage to change. So the tradition's advice is accepting comes first. That also means accepting yourself, others, and life. Modern psychological treatment called DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, is built exactly on this basis. The first part of the treatment is just full acceptance. It's a full understanding of the situation and full acceptance of the situation. A similar path can be found in the modern psychological therapy called ACT. ACT, ACT, acronym is accept your thoughts and emotions. For C, choose a valued direction. And T, take action. So first, we see acceptance. The well-known psychologist Carl Rogers, founder of the humanistic approach in psychology, said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." So we see the most modern approaches actually point to the same place the ancients were pointing to. It's a combination of acceptance and change. First you accept. Accepting is not agreeing. Then accepting the need for a change where possible. Accepting the fact you will be on your way. It's okay to be on the way. Only then can you perform the change. If you have reached this far, I believe you have the power to leap forward through acceptance. Let's keep in touch. I love to hear from you. Leave your remarks, I will read and respond. Also, please press like and subscribe for more out-of-the-box thinking on self-improvement. Not only will you see more, I will be thankful for your encouragement. So subscribe, like, and let's do it.